Hey guys, this is Blake from Blake's Sanctum, retro site for retro games. Today I'm bringing you a very awesome mod. This is the Star Trek mod for Civilization 4 Beyond the Sword. And it's pretty well known out there, but I thought I'd do my own video of it because I feel like a lot of the other videos out there don't really cover just how awesome this mod is. As basically, for those who aren't overly familiar with Civ 4 or its extensions, is there were two add-on packs, and the second one, Beyond the Sword, added this freaky mod that changed the entire game into a space game, and it was called the Final Frontier. And it was really Master of Orion 2 kind of style. It was just amazing that they converted land and sea into space and cities into solar systems with little planets going around and all that kind of stuff. And you'll get to see that very soon. And naturally, it wasn't long before fans made mods for this mod. And along came Star Trek and Babylon 5, and I'm going to do the Babylon 5 one shortly as well. So you'll see that in the links at the end of this video. And yeah, it's just utterly brilliant, these mods. If you've ever wanted to have a real-time strategy game set in your favourite universe or era, then this is the mod for you. And basically, these guys have covered everything. There's scenarios in the DS9 Era, Voyager Era, Next Generation, Original Series, Enterprise, some of the films. And there's even ones based on unseen events. But these guys have dreamed up some of the coolest scenarios, like what happened in the Earth-Romulan War just after the Enterprise series wrapped up, and what happened if the timeline wasn't fixed in yesterday's Enterprise, and there was, that big epic war between the Klingons and the Federation that the Federation were losing, and you get to have a go and see if you can fight back and survive. And even like the mirror universe, where how did the evil Terran Empire fall after Spock made them peaceful? You get to play all those kind of scenarios, and you can be the Federation, or you can be the bad guys, you can be one of the alien races, you can do whatever you want, and it's utterly brilliant. So before I start showing you guys stuff, I've got to apologise for the music. And the reason that is this mod has epic music. It's unbelievable. All your favourite songs from the various Star Trek series and films are in this mod. It has an incredible feel to it. Like, you start a game as the Borg, and you've got the haunting Borg music from First Contact as they're charging at the crew and stuff. It's it's absolutely brilliant. But the problem is, of course, it triggers all the copyrights on YouTube, and I don't want that on my account, so I've had to disable music. However, to compensate for that, I've basically chucked on some high quality MIDIs from my Star Trek Doom level, which, if you like Doom and you like Star Trek, you should check that out. I'll put that in the links too. A little bit of self-plugging there. So I put them in the background just so we've got something playing. So I apologise. I just to make that absolutely clear, this is not the mod's soundtrack. This is stuff I'm playing, because the mod's soundtrack triggers the copyrights because it's full quality orchestral stuff straight from the show. There's even like guitar stuff, like that surprised me. It looks like they've got some talented person to go and do guitar renditions of all the big Star Trek songs, so that's a nice touch as well that you'll hear in various levels. But let's get this thing started. So basically, I should point out the reason this menu's clipped is because back when this mod came out, I think it was like 2008 or so, and a lot of people were still rocking box-shaped screens and not wide screens. So this looks better in 1280 times 1024 or whatever the old traditional box res was. So the top and bottom get a bit clipped when you put it to 180p. But obviously the game looks much better at 180p, so I'm keeping it in 180p. So we go single player and play a scenario. And this is where I'll quickly go back. If you go play now, you can start that sandbox game, and you go Spiral Galaxy, and you pick your galaxy sizes and your planet quality and all that kind of stuff. And then look, you've got all the races here. Look, as you can be the Borg, and you can even play as Locutus of Borg, the Breen, the Cardassian Union. I remember those guys from Voyager. They did all those inspections. Ferengi Alliance, the First Federation. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that guy from the original series. Oh yes, the Gorn, and Vadwa. That might be another Voyager one. I can't quite remember them properly. Apologise if I've got that wrong. The Kazon, Klingons, the Krenin from Voyager, Marquis, DS9 and Next Generation, Orion Syndicate, which of course we got to see properly in Enterprise, Romulan Star Empire, Suleiman from Enterprise, the evil Terran Empire, you can even beat them, and the Dominion. Oh, I love to play as the Dominion, that'd be really fun. The Klingons, you got to have the... Oh, no, sorry, this is the Mirror Universe Klingon Cardassian Alliance. You get some pretty crazy ones in here because this is basically all the races that are used throughout all the different scenarios, and there's some pretty out there scenarios. So we got, the 19 tribes of the Hirogen, Third Republic of Bajor, Tholian Assembly, United Federation of Planets, and the Dian, oh yes, the Body Snatcher people from Voyager, and the Voth Ministry of Elders, and Zindi Council. So there you go, look at that, lots of races. And so you can start a sandbox game in traditional Civ style where you just have your little starting planet and there's a big randomly generated galaxy full of aliens and you battle it out for supremacy. And so we'll go back, or you can get into the scenarios, and that's where the real magic of this mod is, in my opinion. I mean, the sandbox experience is great, but there's some other great stuff here. Like, there's actually sandbox ones built in, like scenarios built into this as well. Like, there's several here, like there's like the galaxy and no independent systems, and this is basically similar to a sandbox game, except the starting positions are set. And I think they follow some of the Star Trek maps out there. But this one was actually an add-on which you can download separately, and I've got a link to it on my website for those interested, and there'll be a link to my website at the end of this video, and it's also in the description. But there's a bonus mod for the mod of the mod called the Alpha Quadrant, which is basically a super map with all the races. So I'll give you a quick go at that one. And it has all the races, and or most of the races, sorry, and let's be the Borg, and the Borg are very cool in this. Let's be the Borg Queen, hit OK, then the map will load. And I had to skip that video, sorry, because that also triggers copyright, despite the fact it's a horrible copy of someone's videotape. It triggers a copyright. In fact, the fact that I had it for a second there probably means I'm going to have to delete that bit. Anyway, so here we go. This is the Borg start. Normally you get this haunting Borg music at this stage, which would be really awesome. But yeah, since the start of history, Borg people have been confined to their own system. Now with the invention of warp drive, travelling between systems is possible. At last, Borg Queen, you have been chosen to build an empire in space and to boldly go where no one has gone before. I think it's pretty much the same, similar start for all the races. They just changed the opening line. Look at this. Welcome to the final frontier. Periodically groups will appear. Oh yeah, this is the final frontier tutorial you'll still get coming up. Unimatrix 1. Look at that. And you've even got some starting transwarp corridors here, which is interesting. So they're basically roads in Civ. And then in the final frontier they became these space corridor thingos to speed up your spaceships, and so naturally in the Star Trek mod they've been renamed to transwarp corridors, and I think in the end all the races can end up building them, but naturally the Borg get them first from the looks of things. And some city screen here, and of course it's not really a city screen anymore. As you can see, the final frontier mod converts it to a functioning solar system, and you can actually... Normally, Civ players will know that in a city you've got your build list and all that, but on here you can actually build separate buildings on the different planets. And look at all these interesting things, and some of them have a very Trek modification to them. So the planetary defense grid, and that actually looks like a picture of the Cardassian. But yeah, these look at this, multiple planets. So and see how the selector changes. So that's really cool. And this is like the whole solar system building list. You can end up with trade routes once you connect your star systems with roads and things. And look at this, from the get-go, the Borg can build the simple version of the cubes. And they're not that strong at the moment. But if I go into here, and this is the Civilopedia, you can have a closer look at the Borg cube there, flying through space. Ooh. this sphere as well. And it looks like the simple cubes upgrade to a higher level sphere, which is interesting direction choice. If I go to top, I can show you some of the units as well, just for the hell of it. You can look at me. They've got, look at this. They've got Breen cruisers. I mean, look at that thing. Oh, so cool. They were great ships at the end of DS9. Good old Bird of Prey, of course, and I mean, look at all the cube variations. I mean, say this Bird of Prey is strength 4, so the simple cubes are primitive cubes from presumably that, I don't know, maybe now, the 20th century or whatever, or I don't know, or the 21st century, and then they get stronger and stronger until you get to the end game cubes that are just ridiculous. Look at that, crazy. I think there might even be tactical cubes in this thing. Oh yeah, here we go, look at that. Oh my god, 40, strength 40 and 50. Which is just, I think basically you don't want the Borg to get to this thing because they're just so overpowered. Like, no one would be able to stop them, you know, it's just ridiculous. The DM Raider, and what are some of the... I'm trying to remember where the... some alien ships there. There's a Defiant. Oh, old style Defiant from the original series, of course. Yeah, the modern Federation ships are somewhere in this one. They just got weird names for some reason. In this particular mod, they've got proper names like Sovereign and Galaxy and all that kind of stuff. And in some of the other Star Trek mods, but there's an equivalent for the Next Generation Era. Strength 9. So yeah, Strength 9 versus a 50 Borg cube. Good friggin' luck. So yeah, don't let the Borg get strong. And if you're playing as the Borg, obviously the idea is to build their super expensive units as quickly as possible. So I got here some like sort of small Borg probe thing, and you can look at this, follow the transwarp corridor. And they've got quite a few moves. Look at that. Transwarp corridor, good lord, they've already got one. That's so evil that the Borg start off with a transwarp, like a frigging, oh my god. Oh no, it's a wet, let's see if we can enter this wormhole and see what happens. I don't know what will happen. Bang! Where did we end up? Ooh. So look at that. The Borg straight away have the ability to start zapping around the galaxy and getting up to all kinds of no good. And of course, everyone hates you though. So if we go to we'll go through some of the things. Here's all the races. They don't like you very much. So of course, it is a challenge. I mean, for the Borg, you've got to survive the early stage, because if you do, then you get the good stuff. So yeah, that's the tour of the big Galaxy mod, the Alpha Quadrant mod. So that'll be very fun to play. Now I'm going to go to the next thing. I reckon I'll show you my favourite scenario of them all, which is the DS9 Dominion Invasion mod. So we're going to go to that next. Now, unfortunately, to load different mods, the game makes you either quit or unload the mod and reload, and it's this whole long process I'm not going to subject you guys to. So I'm just going to pause the recording, and you will be back at the correct moment in just a sec. Alrighty, so now we've got the Deep Space Nine mod ready to go. The year is 2369, the galaxy is in peace, or is it? The Alpha Quadrant is about to be thrown into chaos. Take control of one of the major powers and see if you can survive these troubled times. Alrighty, so basically that chaos is about to happen is of course the Dominion invasion. So we hit OK, requires a Deep Space Nine mod, game must restart to load this mod. So we'll start off as the Dominion. Sorry, not Dominion. I'll show you that in a sec. Yeah, what I'll do is I'll show you a bit of the Federation, and then I'll quickly load up the Dominion as well, just so you can see how cool this one is. I'll be quicker through the other mods, but because this is my favourite, I want to show you a bit more. Alrighty, here we go. And of course, normally you get all this wonderful Deep Space Nine music. But I've switched that off, of course. The year is 2369, the Alpha Quadrant is about to plunge into war, and you're on the front lines. Each power wants to expand their influence in the area, but conflict will soon spark over the formation of the demilitarized zone, and later, the invasion of the Dominion. So it looks like they might have some of the pre-events, like issues with the Cardassians, the Klingon Cardassian War, the Federation Cardassian War, all in the lead up to the Dominion charging in. Alright, so we get our usual thingo tutorial. Let's have a look. So the Federation of Blue, we've got all these systems here. Very nice, and look at that, we've got a Galaxy class starship protecting this system. Very nice. Great detail, isn't it? I mean, this is, you know, an old Civ game, but the model details look excellent. I mean, you know, you spend most of the time zoomed out, so you wouldn't expect them to put that much effort into the thingos, but they look great. So this is Bajor, and here is Deep Space Nine, right next to the wormhole. And it's like, you know, what is going to come out of that wormhole? You know, it's like you sit there waiting nervously to see what happens. And DS9 is the only thing holding them back. Scary stuff, you know. And this this Excelsior class starship, yeah, great. I feel safer already. So we'll go on to this. Let's see what's in this system. So you can build the good stuff though. Look at this. You got Galaxy class starship, and you can start pumping out the Sovereigns. And of course, eventually you'll get the Defiant. Oh, get out of the way, stupid tutorial. There we go. So look at this, we're going here, look at this. Oh, beautiful, Sovereign. Now the power values are very different between all the scenarios, so don't look at the 5 here and go, hang on, that's weaker than that Gala class ship I saw on the other mod. It's like, it's all different. The Gala has a completely different value on this one. See, it's only got 3 here, where it was 9 in the other mod. But, yep, oh look at that, the Negvar. The big Klingon ship. Very nice. That's wicked. Good old Nebula. Some great stuff here. Romulan scout ship. Starbase. It's actually very detailed, I just can't get in close to it sadly. Well, the Vorcha. And that'll be a Romulan warbird. Awesome. The Dominion gets some great ships too, which I'll show in a sec. But yeah. Exit there. And is there anything else cool to show? I don't know if there's any star bases in this particular mod. There's plenty of star bases in other mods there, so you'll get to see something. But so what's that? These that's a piece of the Klingons. And what's up here? The Zenkethi. I recognise the name from the show, but I can't remember what they look like. The Romulan Star Empire. It's going to be tough for the Federation because it doesn't like the Romulans and the Klingons have many systems. And if you're playing as either the Romulans, you need to start colonising as soon as possible. You've got a little thing of I like that, the Ferengi Alliance have got more systems than the Klingons and the Romulans in this map. Ferengana. And of course, this would be the Cardassians, Cardassia. So they'd be the main adversary of this mod along with the Dominion. And the Breen Confederacy hiding over here, ready to strike. And up here, this would be the other side of the wormhole. See how in the Final Frontier, nebulas are impassable. So the designers of some of these scenarios have cleverly used nebula to just cut out a piece of the map to denote another quadrant of the galaxy. So the Dominion are in there. So I'll quickly show you a Dominion game. Exit to main menu. Are you sure? Yes. And we go play scenario, Deep Space Nine, and the Dominion, Wayoon. Look at this. So now we're starting in that little piece of the Gamma Quadrant. Alrighty. So of course here are the Dominion start reasonably strong. So they're in a decent, and look at this. They've got all these lovely systems they can take. Looks like they can conquer some independence and colonize some empty systems and be ready to charge through the wormhole at a moment's notice. So let's have a look at these guys. There's a Dominion fighter, and of course they got the big Dominion capital ships. Oh, let's have a look. Dominion fighter. Great. Oh, nice. Nice. So, oh yeah, and of course, Civ 4 was famous for having all the unit upgrades and promotions and things. So of course, that's all been brought across into the Final Frontier mod, which then, of course, got utilised in the Star Trek mod. They even got a few unique Star Trek mods there. Resistance to like, they can see cloaked ships and things like that, just like in the show. Very cool. Using their tachyon thingos. And look at this. Oh, and sure enough, it's stronger than the Federation ships we saw. Beautiful. Very cool. And I think, I'm trying to remember if the Dominion get that super ship. Because I think this might be just their, I'm trying to remember if this is their regular battleship or that super duper 4 times the size of a Galaxy class starship one. I can't quite remember. But, yeah. So yeah, alright, that's the Deep Space Nine mod. I can't wait to play as this. It'd be really fun to play as the Dominion invading the Empire, the Federation and all the other empires. And of course the Dominion don't know anyone, whereas if I should have shown you this screen as the Federation, because of course you had all Galeron and the Breen and all that there as your not allies. I think they're more just it's all sort of, you know, on edge at the start of this mod. But yeah, and of course there's nice. This one doesn't have many techs because you're sort of at the end tech level almost already, so there isn't really anything here. But I should have shown you the tech screen on the other mod, the Alpha Quadrant one, because of course you had a full tech tree of Star Trek mods and a full list of Star Trek techs. But yeah, alright, so let's load the next mod. And there's another DS9 map that's one of those strange, unique ones that entirely sort of dreamed up that we, you know, never saw anything like that in the show, and that was, what was I think it's, yeah, Millennium, the War of the Prophets. And this is like this crazy scenario where, I think, what if scenario where if the Pi Wraiths managed to defeat the temporal wormhole aliens or whatever they were called as, what were the Prophets? Yeah, sorry. The Pi Wraith defeat the Prophets, and then I think it tells a story of, like, it tells you more story when the level begins. But let me see, the 3 red orbs of Jalbrador have been brought together, revealing a second Bajoran wormhole. The Dominion has been annihilated and the Bajoran ascendancy has risen to power. The Federation is now involved in a bloody holy war. At stake, the universe itself. So basically the longer story that you see when you start that level is the Par-Wraith wormhole opens and destroys DS9 and the Defiant, and then the Dominion try to use it to go back to the Gamma Quadrant, but the Par-Wraiths hijack them and they take. I think Wayoon survives, and basically he gets converted to believing that the Par-Wraiths are the true gods instead of the founders, and he then begins this holy war for them. So he sort of becomes like their gold to cut, I suppose. They're their emissary, and he basically, using the Dominion forces, sort of conquers the Cardassians and the Bajorans and everything, and sort of, well, I think he takes control of this whole religious order on Bajor, and then they take over the Cardassians, but you know, the Bajorans sort of become his primary empire, and he uses some other alien empire as well, and ends up conquering all this stuff. It's this really out there scenario, and then of course you've got the Federation, the Klingons and all that trying to stop them, and it's so they've got lots of Dominion technology and alien technology and Bajoran technology. It's this weird mix. It's crazy scenario. So if someone who likes the DS9 and all the mythology in the show and wants to see, you know, what if the Pi Wraiths win, then that's the scenario for you. So the next thing I think I'll show will be the mirror universe stuff. There's some great scenarios here. Look at that. They've got 3 different scenarios. So you've got the rise of the Terran Empire, and that's in the Enterprise era. So of course that's set around that brilliant 2-part episode from Enterprise, Mirror Darkly, which is one of my favourite 2-part episodes of all time. I mean, Enterprise may not be my favourite Star Trek series by a long shot, but there are parts of it I loved, and Mirror Darkly was definitely one of them. And that episode told the story of how it connected to an original series episode when that, I can't remember the name of the starship, but one of the Constitution class starships, much like the Enterprise, disappeared in this anomaly, and Mirror darkly tells a story that it reappears back in time in the Enterprise era, but it's in the mirror universe, the evil mirror universe, and Archer and his evil crew need to get control of it so they can take over. They're fighting a bloody war against the Vulcans and all these rebel factions and the Romulans and the Klingons and all that. So they need an edge because they haven't got, they've got similar technology to regular Enterprise, so they're losing their war because they're getting swamped by too many enemies, and that ship makes the difference because it's got future tech. And so this mod is set in that time, and I'm pretty sure when I tried it out I even saw the future ship appear, and you can utilize it. I think you've got to get control of it and use it to dominate, and presumably once you've got the tech you can then build the ship and conquer the galaxy. So that's a very fun scenario. And then you've got there's one from the other end of the spectrum, the Terran Resistance. That's in the DS9 era that we saw, basically where they're on DS9 and they take over the station, they build a Defiant, and then they're fighting against the Klingon Cardassian alliance with Defiance. And this mod is set in that time where basically you play as Smiley O'Brien in charge of the Terran Resistance, and you're pumping out the Defiants from DS9, building a fleet to take back the Terran Empire. And yes, that's a bloody fun scenario. And the one I'm going to show you though, because this one's even freakier, this is something we never got to see, and we only got to this one we only got to hear about, and that is the fall of the Terran Empire. So this is when, the year is 2282, so that's sort of original series, sort of I think getting towards the movie era, and reforms set about by Spock have weakened the Terran Empire. Rival powers see opportunity to shift the balance of power. The most powerful of them, the coalition between the Klingons and the Cardassians. So let's kick this one off. Yes. Here we go. So we can try and save the evil Terran Empire, or we can be as the Klingons. Look at that, General Chang. Oh, that's good. And of course you can play as Spock.